Hello, Dolly.
Call on Dolly. She's the one the spinsters recommend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maiden aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly if your eldest daughter needs a friend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maiden aunts and she'll match him up. Call on
Dolly Levi. That's right. Mrs. Dolly Levi, born Gallagher. Social introductions. Ladies and gentlemen of excellent family, introduced under the most respectable conditions, in an atmosphere of elegance and refinement. Object: matrimony. Unfortunately, I won't be able to offer my usual lightning service today, as I have a previous appointment in Yonkers, New York, arranging the second marriage of Mr. Horace Vandergelder, the well-known half-a-millionaire. As my late husband, Ephraim Levi, always said, that means he's got at least $60,000 cash. But I will do my best to see that you are carried across somebody's threshold before the week is out. Now, I might also mention that I am available for financial consultation, yes, instruction in the guitar and mandolin, short distance hauling, and, well, varicose veins reduced.
Call on Dolly. She's the one the spinsters recommend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maiden aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly.
Mrs. Levi!
Mr. Kemper, the starving artist. Well, you know, I'm something of an artist myself. I do those silhouettes with black paper and scissors. Well, here's one of Teddy Roosevelt looking the other way. You see, I have to do them like that because I'm no good at noses.
Mrs. Levi, the train for Yonkers leaves in 5 minutes, and if we don't get there on time...
Oh, but we will, Mr. Kemper. And not only will Horace Vandergelder give you permission to marry his niece Ermengarde, but he will also dance at your wedding. Oh, and not alone either, because I happen to be engaged in finding him a suitable second wife himself. What he really wants is someone steady to clean the house. As my late husband, Ephraim Levi, always said, marriage is a bribe. To make a housekeeper, think she's a householder.
Oh, I know all about it, Mrs. Levi. Half of New York says she's going to propose to Miss Irene Malloy this very afternoon.
Which is exactly why I'm on my way to Yonkers this morning, Mr. Kemper, and can take on your case and knock off 4 lovebirds with 1 stone or whatever I'll throw. And, well. What do you think of that? I've nothing here to pay my train fare with, just large bills, 5s and 7s.
Oh, I think I have some change around here somewhere. I only hope this isn't a wild goose chase.
Ooh, and speaking of poultry, I'm also available for fresh Jersey eggs, surgical corsets reboned, ears pierced, and, well, pierced ears replugged.
Mrs. Levi!
Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maiden aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly.
So tell me, Mrs. Levi, what's in all this for you?
A living, Mr. Kemper. Some people paint, some sew, I meddle. I have always been a woman who arranges things for the pleasure and the profit it derives. I have always been a woman who arranges things like furniture and daffodils and lives. When a man with a timid tongue meets a girl with a diffident air, why should the tortured creatures beat around the bush when heaven knows Mother Nature always needs a little push? So I put my hand in here, I put my hand in there. And a man over 6'3" loves a girl who comes up to his ear. Surely it's obvious she'll never be seduced till some kind soul condescends to give the girl a little boost. So I put my hand in there, I put my hand in here. I have always been a woman who arranges things. It's my duty to assist the Lord above. I have always been a woman who arranges things like luncheon parties, poker games, and love. My aplomb at cosmetic art turned a frump to a trump lady fair. She had a countenance a little bit like Scrooge, but oh, today you would swear the Lord himself applied the rouge. When I put my hand in here, and I twist a little, stir a little, him a little, her a little, shape a little, mold a little, some poor chap gets sold a little. When I use my fist a little, some young bride gets kissed a little. Pressure with the thumbs, matrimony comes when I put my hand in there.
Mrs. Levi!
I know, Mr. Kemper. The Yonkers train is ready to leave. Now you go get our tickets, get a window seat, order lunch, and I'll meet you on board. Ephraim Levi, I'm going to get married again. I'm going to marry Horace Vandergelder for his money and send it out circulating among the people like rainwater, just the way you taught me. But I need a sign from you sometime today that you approve. Oh, it won't be a marriage in the sense that you and I had one, but I shall certainly make him happy. And I'm tired, Ephraim, tired of living from hand to mouth. And so I want that sign.
Mrs. Levi!
Sometime today. Don't you worry, Mr. Kemper. We'll make that train. You'll get to Yonkers. You'll marry Ermengarde. Just leave everything to me. For when my little pinky wiggles, some young maiden gets the giggles. Then I make my knuckles active. My, he says she's so attractive. Then I move my index digit, and they both begin to fidget. Pressure with the palms. The preacher reads a psalm when I put my hand in there.
Damn! How am I supposed to play Yonkers My Yonkers with all that bellowing in my ear?
I can't help it, Uncle. I love Ambrose Kemper.
And I say you're too young to be in love with anyone. Here, take this.
I'm not too young. I'm 17. And in another year, I'll be an old maid.
Well, I forbid it. Dare to be an old maid, Ermengarde, and I'll cut you off without a cent. And quit crying in the store.
I can't help it. I'm unhappy.
Then by thunder, we'll go to New York City, where you can weep and it won't be noticed. Now go upstairs and pack your trunk. And don't get any tears on the lock. It was just oiled. Cornelius! Barnaby!
You stamped, Mr. Vandergelder?
I did. I've got important news for you both. I'm going to New York City this afternoon to march in the 14th Street Association Parade. And when I return, you're going to have a mistress.
I'm too young, Mr. Vandergelder.
Not yours, hell and damnation, mine. I mean, I'm getting married again. And in honor of that occasion, I've decided to promote you, Cornelius, to chief clerk.
What am I now, Mr. Vandergelder?
You're an impertinent fool, that's what you are. And I'm promoting you from impertinent fool to chief clerk. Any questions?
Yes.
What?
Does chief clerk get one evening off a week?
So this is how you thank me for your promotion, is it? No. You'll tend to the store as usual. Now get back to work. And don't forget to put the lid on the sheep dip. Evenings off. Marrying artists. Foolishness. 99% of the people in this world are fools. And the rest of us are in great danger of contamination. Why, even I was young once, which was foolish. And fell in love, which was foolish. And got married, which was foolish. And was poor, which was more foolish than anything else. And then my wife died, which was foolish of her. And I grew older, which was sensible of me, and became rich, friendless, and mean, which in Yonkers is about as far as you can go. Oh, I know what you're asking. Why would a man of such good sense do anything as foolish as get married again? Well, I'll tell you. This place without a woman is like an empty shell. And pretty dirty, too. It takes a woman all powdered and pink to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with long golden lashes and soft resin fingers for dumping the ashes.
Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
A frail young maiden who's constantly there for washing and bluing and shoeing the mare. And it takes a female for setting the table and weaning the Guernsey and cleaning the stable.
Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. And so she'll work until infinity. 3 cheers for femininity. Rock, 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 F-E-M-I-T-Y.
Get out of here! And in the winter she'll shovel the ice and lovingly set out the traps for the mice. She's a joy and treasure, for practically speaking, to whom can you turn when the plumbing is leaking?
To that dainty woman, that fragile woman, that sweetheart, that mistress, that wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman,
A husky woman,
to bring you the sweet things in life.
Oh yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
All right, get out of here, all of ya.
Congratulations, congratulations, 1,000 congratulations.
What? What?
Congratulations, Mr. Van de Gelder. All New York is buzzing with the news that you've practically proposed to Irene Malloy. Why, the streets are lined with eligible young ladies prostrate with grief. All my congratulations and sympathy.
Sympathy?
Oh, did I say that? A slip of the tongue, that's all. No, I'm delighted with the happy news. After all, she wasn't easy to unload. I mean, you know what people said, although I, for one, never believed the rumors. No, I did not.
Rumors? What rumors?
Oh, nothing to get upset about, Mr. Van de Gelder. By all accounts, her first husband passed on quite naturally. It's just that he went so sudden. A few spoons of chowder she made special for him and... But... it could happen to anyone. There's no truth in it. Just a word of advice. Eat out.
Now, Mrs. Levi, do you mean to say that Mrs.
I
Malloy...
mean to say nothing, Mr. Van de Gelder. Just some friendly advice. Keep away from the chowder. Oh, incidentally, she's ordered her wedding gown. Oh, you should see it. It's beautiful. Black. But, as I said before, congratulations on your forthcoming nuptials, and may you rest in, may guardian angels watch over you both, particularly at dinner.
Now, see here, Mrs. Levi. You arranged my meeting with Mrs. Malloy, and rumors or not, I plan calling on her as arranged.
Very well. I guess there's nothing more for me to do than to go back to New York and tell the other girl, the heiress, not to wait.
What did you say?
Oh, nothing. A word. Heiress.
Particulars, Mrs. Levi. I demand particulars. Her name.
Her name, Money. Ernestina Money.
What a lovely, lovely name.
Picture, if you will, hair as shiny as a newly minted dime, eyes as big round as silver dollars, skin as soft and mossy as an old greenback.
I can feel her now.
I could arrange for you to meet this Ernestina this very afternoon.
I ain't got time for that, Mrs. Levi. I gotta take my niece Ermengarde to New York City until she forgets a certain Ambrose Kemper.
Oh, I could do that for you, Mr. Van de Gelder. I know just how to handle such things.
And then I'm marching in the 14th Street Parade.
What an amazing coincidence. Guess who's been asked to ride on the main float? The spirit of 14th Street. Miss Money. Her mother was a cash, you know.
All right, Mrs. Levi. I'll meet Miss Money, but I still intend to call on Mrs. Malloy first.
Oh, dear, what races you make me run. Very well. I'll meet you on that bench in front of Mrs. Malloy's hat shop at 2:30 as usual.
One more thing, Mrs. Levi. Supposing I decide against Mrs. Malloy and I don't like Miss Money neither.
Well, I do have one more name on my list, a name I know as well as my own, but we won't go into that right now. It'll come up by itself all in good time. Oh, wait till you see her, Horace, Ernestina, a vision, a dream.
It takes a woman all powdered and pink to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with long golden lashes and soft resin fingers for dumping the ashes.
Yes, it takes a woman. La-dee-da-dee-dum. Da-dee-da, da-dee-dum, da-da. Ephraim, I'm going to have that room done over in blue wallpaper. Yes, blue. Ambrose, Ermengarde, come on out here. We've got plans to make.
Chief clerk. Promoted from chief clerk to chief clerk. And if I'm good in about 10 years, I'll be promoted again to chief clerk. 33 years old and I still don't have an evening off. When am I going to begin to live?
You can live on holidays, Cornelius.
Don't you remember what happened last Christmas? All those tomato cans went bad and exploded. And then we spent the entire afternoon cleaning up the mess. Do you call that living?
No.
Barnaby, We're going to New York.
You mean close the store?
Yep.
Cornelius, we can't do that.
We'll have to. Some more rotten tomato cans are going to explode.
Holy cabooses, how do you know?
I'm gonna light this candle under them, that's how I know. It'll make such a smell that people won't be able to come into the shop for 24 hours. That'll give us an evening off. Barnaby, we're going to New York. We're going to live. We're going to spend all of our money. We're going to have a good meal. We're going to be in danger. And we're going to be arrested.
Holy cabooses.
And one more thing. You and I are not coming back to Yonkers until we've both kissed a girl.
Cornelius, you can't do that. You don't know any girls.
I'm 33 years old. I have to start sometime.
I'm only 17, Cornelius. It isn't so urgent for me.
New York, Barnaby. Elevated trains, the lights of Broadway. The stuffed whale at Barnum's Museum.
A stuffed whale?
A stuffed whale. What do you say?
Yes, Cornelius, yes!
Now, the first thing is to make you financially independent. I know, I'll find you a job. Can you dance?
I'm an artist, Mrs. Levi. I paint.
Well then, my card.
Mrs. Dolly Levi. Painters taught how to dance.
Now, there's a man, Rudolph Reisenweber, at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on 14th Street. I'll give you a note for him, and we'll see if he can't have you both entered in the dance competition this evening. Oh, first prize is a week's engagement and a solid gold cup. Oh, the cups we won, Ephraim and me.
Now, hold on just a minute, Mrs. Levi. No fiance of mine is going to step foot in a cafe. And I don't mind saying, I'm surprised you have acquaintances in a place like that.
Not acquaintances, Mr. Kemper, friends. Dear friends from days gone by. My late husband, Ephraim Levi, believed in life, and anywhere you could find it. Cafes, ballrooms, yes, even theaters. Why, even when times were bad, every Saturday night like clockwork, down the stairs of the Harmonia Gardens we came, Ephraim and me.
Well, it's all very good to come down like clockwork, Mrs. Levi, but you're asking Ermengarde to work there.
It's the only way to show Horace Van de Gelder that we mean business. Now, you will go to the Harmonia Gardens this afternoon and tell them Mrs. Levi sent you. Oh, and incidentally, tell Rudolph Dolly's coming back, and I want a table for two and a chicken for 8 o'clock tonight.
All right, Cornelius, the bottom row looks all right. Now hold the candle under the ones on top. Not too close, they're swelled up like they're about to burst. Holy cabooses, I can smell it up here.
Get dressed, Barnaby. We're going to New York. Out there's a world outside of Yonkers. Way out there beyond this hick town, Barnaby. It's a slick town, Barnaby. Out there, full of shine and full of sparkle. Close your eyes and see it glisten, Barnaby. Listen, Barnaby. Put on your Sunday clothes, there's lots of world out there. Get out the brilliantine and dime cigars. We're gonna find adventure in the evening air. Girls in white and a perfume night, and a light as bright as the stars. Put on your Sunday clothes, we're gonna ride through town in one of those new horse-drawn open cars. We'll see the shows of Delmonico's, and we'll close the town in a whirl, and we won't come home until we've kissed a girl.
Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. Strut down the street and have your picture took. Just like a dream, your spirits seem to turn about. That Sunday shine is a perfect sign that you feel as fine as you look.
Beneath your parasol, the world is all a smile.
that makes you feel brand new down to your toes. Get out your feathers, your patent leathers, your beads and buckles and bows. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday, no Monday in your Sunday, no Monday in your Sunday clothes.
We're going to New York, Barnaby. Elevated trains, the lights of Broadway.
Holy cabooses!
The stuffed whale at Barnum's Museum.
Wow!
Let's go!
Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. So down the street and have your picture towed. Just like a dream, your spirit seems to turn around. That Sunday shine is a certain sign that you feel as fine as you look. Beneath your parasol, the world is all a smile that makes you feel brand new down to your toes. Get out your feathers, your patent leathers, your beads and buckles and bows. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday clothes. Beneath your polar brim, the world's a simple song. A lovely lilt that makes you tilt your nose. Get out your slickers, your rattle knickers, your red suspenders and bows. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday clothes.
Ermengarde, stop sniveling. Don't cry on the valises. We haven't missed the train yet, thank the Lord. Oh, lovely, you're improving. Now get all 11 pieces. We're 7 minutes late. All aboard!
All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! Put on your Sunday clothes, there's lots of world out there. Put on your silk cravat and patent shoes. For I can feel adventure in the evening air. To town we'll trot to a smoky spot where the girls are hot as a fuse. Put on your high silk hat and at the turn of cuff, or wear a handmade raceway button glove. We'll join the Astors at Tony Pastor's and this I'm positive. That we won't come home, that we won't come home, that we won't come home until we fall in love.
Oh my, would you look at that? 10 o'clock and the shop's not opened yet. It's all because of that impending marriage, I tell you. What marriage? Oh, I thought you knew. Why, the marriage Mrs. Levi is arranging between Mr. Horace Vandergelder, the well-known Yonkers $500,000, and my employer and friend, Mrs. Irene Malloy. Although, if you ask me, he'll never take the place of her late husband, Mr. Peter Malloy. May he rest in peace wherever he is. I'm not sure. He was a caution, you know. Ooh, it's all too much, what with late husbands and new marriages, and on top of everything else, Miss Mortimer returning this hat for the 3rd time. Same old story. She wants more cherries and feathers. Cherries and feathers. To catch a bow, I suppose. Although, if you ask me, I think she'd be better with a nice, heavy veil. I told her ribbons down her back is what we'll be wearing this summer if we want to catch a gentleman's eye, but she'd have none of it. Cherries and feathers she wants on today of all days when that poor, dear, sweet Mrs. Malloy has enough on her mind. What with...
With what, Minnie?
Oh! Hi! Nothing. And as I was saying, Mrs. Malloy, I could bite out my tongue for the things I've said and the things I'm going to say, but as long as I've gone this far, I might as well go all the way. Mrs. Malloy, why
Say it, Minnie. Why am I marrying Horace Vandergelder?
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, I did not ask you that. I would rather die on the rack than ask you such a personal question. But as long as you did bring it up.
I am marrying Horace Vandergelder for one reason, and one reason alone, Minnie. To get away from the millinery business. I hate hats.
Mrs. Malloy!
And I'm tired of being suspected of being a wicked woman with nothing to show for it.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy!
Oh, don't protest, Minnie. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. That's why I can't go into restaurants or balls or theaters. That's all the proof they'd need. Oh, take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandergelder or I bust out of this place like a fire engine. Oh, no, Miss Mortimer.
Miss Mortimer! I'll take care of it.
Oh, no. You can make her another hat if you like, Minnie, but I'm wearing this one.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, you can't! You're a widow! And that hat, well, it's provocative, that's what.
It is, Minnie? Well, who knows who may come into the shop today, and provocative may be what I just want to be.
Mrs. Malloy!
I'll be wearing ribbons down my back this summer, blue and green and streaming in the yellow sky. So if someone special comes my way this summer, he might notice me passing by. And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July, because a breeze might stir a rainbow up behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye, and he might smile and take me by the hand this summer, making me recall how lovely love can be. And so I will proudly wear ribbons down my back, shining in my hair, that he might notice me. And so I will proudly wear ribbons down my back, shining in my hair, that he might notice me.
Mrs. Malloy, wild horses can't make me ask this next question that I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. Do you love Horace Vandergelder?
Oh, no, Minnie. Peter Malloy, God rest him, was my share of love. And I'm not saying I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman, Minnie, if it was true love, and it was that. Minnie, there are two men staring into the shop.
Men?
Well, I think they do mean to come in here.
Men? In the shop? Oh, Mrs. Malloy, what shall we do?
Do? Why, flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, and you with all that talk about love.
Oh, love enough I've had, Minnie. It's a bit of adventure I could do with now. Ooh, we'll get them all heated up and then we'll drop them cold. It'll be good practice for marriage. Besides, you should go into the workroom. I know of a few ways we can perk up our appearances. A little bit of a weight will make them nervous and easier for us to...
If you say vampire, I'll scream.
Vampire! And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July, because a breeze might stir a rainbow up behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye. We'll get an adventure out of this yet, Minnie!
We'll get an adventure out of this yet, Barnaby. All day long, we've walked around New York and nothing has happened. And then we come to the quietest street in town and suddenly...
Vandergelder.
Is he still out there? Go check.
He's sitting on that bench. Are you sure this is an adventure, Cornelius?
You won't have to ask, Barnaby. When you're in one, you'll know it, all right? How much money do you have left?
Not much. 40 cents for the train back, 30 cents for dinner, and then 20 cents to see the whale. 90 cents. Why?
When those two women come back out of there, we're going to have to pretend that we're customers. That's it, customers. And maybe it's best that we make them think we're rich. Then we won't have to spend anything. That's it. We are two gentlemen about town looking for hats for ladies. Good afternoon, Mrs.
Malloy.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Tucker.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Now, what can I do for you?
Oh, well, we're hats to see, and we're looking for a lady or two to buy to Malloy with them.
We want a hat. For a lady, of course, and everyone said to come to Mrs. Malloy's hat shop because she's so pretty. Her hats are so pretty.
Oh, and so reasonable. As reasonable as under $1 would still leave us enough to see the whale.
You'll have to pay him no mind. He's come all the way from Yonkers to see the stuffed whale, and he's all excited. Why don't you keep an eye on the street, Barnaby, and maybe you'll see it pass by.
Is it big and black with mean little red eyes?
Yeah.
It's sitting right on that bench.
Excuse me, Mr. Hackle, but did you say Yonkers?
Why, yes. Forgive me for saying, but you should see Yonkers. That is, perhaps Mr. Malloy would love to see Yonkers.
Oh, no, Mr. Hackle, I'm a widow.
You are? Barnaby, she's a widow! That's too bad. I'm sure that Mr. Malloy would have loved to see Yonkers, especially in that hat. On you, of course, not Mr. Malloy. May he rest in peace. You're Catholic, aren't you? Don't let that worry you. I'd be willing to change. Mrs. Malloy, if you happen to have a free Sunday in the near future, I would be more than pleased to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Hackle, I'll be there sooner than you think.
Oh, really?
You see, I have a friend who lives there.
Do you?
Oh, perhaps you know him.
Perhaps we do.
It's always so silly to ask in cases like that.
Yes, actually know
them.
I'm sure he's my
It's Mr. Vandergelder.
Horace Vandergelder.
Oh, Vandergelder's hand and feet?
Do you know him?
No, not at all.
No.
No idea.
Mr. Vandergelder's a substantial man and well-liked, they tell me.
Lovely, Mrs. Malloy. Just lovely. He has one fault that I'm aware of. He's as hard as nails.
Cornelius, I think.
Well, perhaps your friend would like
Oh,
this.
look out!
Oh, begging your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
Please help us, Mrs. Malloy. We'll explain later.
Mr. Hackle, come out here this instant.
We're as innocent as can be, Mrs. Malloy.
Mr. Tucker, well, really, if you do not come out of here this Mr. Vandergelder.
Mrs. Malloy. I don't suppose you've seen Mrs. Levi, have you? She was supposed to meet me on that bench 10 minutes ago. Well, she can just wait for me if she comes. When I make an appointment, I expect people to be on time. I brought you a present. Chocolate-covered peanuts. Unshelled. That's the expensive kind. Did I see 2 men in here?
Men! Oh, men, Mr. Vandergelder. What would 2 men be doing in a ladies' hat shop? You should come see my workroom. I'm so anxious for you to see it.
I saw it last week.
So you did. How are things in the hay and feed business? I hear you have 2 friends, all hard as nails.
What on earth are you talking about?
Yonkers. I hear it's a beautiful city.
And who, may I ask, have you been speaking with about Yonkers?
Oh, nobody. A friend.
A friend?
Yes, yes, a customer. A customer, Mr. Vandergelder. Someone quite well-to-do, as a matter of fact. He was in here buying hats for ladies. Of course, you might know him, but it's always so foolish to ask in cases like that.
Oh, yes.
It's a Mr. Cornelius Hackle. Ow, 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 ow.
Did you say Hackle?
Why, yes,
He's my chief clerk, that's all. Mrs. Malloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm going to give it to you. Why shouldn't she know Cornelius Hackle? Well, everyone in New York knows Cornelius. He's here at the Opera, in all the fashionable homes. Why, he's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
Impossible. He's got $145.36 to his name, and I keep it in my safe.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The Panama. The Erie.
Panama.
Both.
It ain't the same man.
Who took the horses from Jenny Lind's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle, who dressed up as a waiter at the Fifth Avenue Hotel and dropped an oyster down Mrs. Astor's. Oh, I couldn't say it, but it was Cornelius. He's the playboy of New York. Now, don't you deny it, Irene. I could see you were just as taken with him as everybody else.
Oh, Dolly, what are you saying? Really, I've only met him just the once. Hello, Minnie.
Excuse me.
Of course. Oh! Thank you. Minnie, hold your tongue.
There's a man in there!
Mrs. Malloy, if there's a man in that closet...
No, Mr. Vandergelder, you can't. It's too dangerous.
No man who hides in ladies' closets can frighten me, Mrs. Levi. Stand aside.
No man, indeed. I'm sure you'd make short work of any man. I can see those muscles now under your coat, rippling back and forth. Ripple, 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 back and forth. Ripple, ripple, ripple.
For the last time, Mrs. Levi, stand aside.
Stand indeed. That's what the courts will want to know when you are accused of entering this closet without a search warrant. I mean, I don't know. What do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. Betsy Ross's flag is passing. Do you see him on the hill at Gettysburg, 'neath that great triumphal arch? If you see him as he's traveling through the grapes of wrath, stand up and march, march, march.
Does this not affect you, sir? I came here at 14 years of age as a young immigrant girl from a land that oppressed my people. So I must echo what was said by the great and patriotic American
Moses!
Oh, yes. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. There's a tear-stained eagle passing. Do you see him on the hill at Waterloo, 'neath the great triumphal arch? If you hear him singing Dixie in the sugar cane, stand up and march, march, march. I stand for motherhood,
Alamo,
America,
remember
and
the
a hot lunch for
Alamo.
orphans.
I
Take off
regret
your
that
hat,
I've one life to
sir.
give for
Betsy
my
Ross's flag is
country.
passing. Do
In
you
the words of
see
Lincoln,
on the
wanted
hill
my
at
land and two if I
Gettysburg,
see, yes,
neath
Dad,
the
I
great
chop that cherry tree
triumphal
down.
arch?
Oh, Stonewall
If you
Jackson,
see him
glory,
trampling
glory,
through the grapes of
hallelujah.
wrath,
Stand up and march, march,
407 years ago.
march, march.
It's a war memorial.
for a perfect union.
March! March! Damn the torpedoes! Full speed ahead!
March!
March! March! So, you see, Mr. Van de Gelder, there couldn't possibly be a man in this closet. God bless you.
Mrs. Malloy.
All right, Mr. Vandergelder. There is a man in that cupboard.
Aha!
And one under that table.
What the devil?
There also happens to be a very simple explanation, but for the present, and good afternoon.
Good Lord! The whole place is crawling with men. I'll never get over it. I take it I'll see you later this afternoon, Mr. Van de Gelder.
You certainly will, Mrs. Levi, with a certain young lady on the main float of the 14th Street Parade. Good day, Mrs. Malloy.
Mrs. Malloy, we can explain everything.
I don't want to hear any explanations, only that you two do me the pleasure of leaving at once, or I'll have to send for Officer Gogarty.
Oh, well, if you ask me, Irene, calling in officers, letting them off too easy. I mean, I've been adding up the legal offenses these two have committed, and believe me, you have grounds for at least 2 writs, a non-compos mentis, and a garnishee. So, the first thing is to show that you've tried to settle it amicably. Have dinner with them.
Dinner?
Is that really necessary,
That's
Dolly?
the way it's done in the law, Irene. Dinner first, garnishee after.
Well, if it must be, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Hackle, you may take Miss Fay and myself to dinner.
It would be our pleasure, Mrs. Malloy. I speak for Barnaby as well. Oh, I happen to know a wonderful little restaurant down at the railroad station.
Oh, no! If the Harmonia Gardens is good enough for your fashionable friends, it's good enough for us. They say they have a wonderful orchestra there, Minnie.
Oh, we couldn't go there. Oh, it's not the money or anything. Don't misunderstand me. It's
the whale.
It's the whale. No, it's not the whale, Barnaby. It's the dancing. They have dancing at establishments like that, exhibitions, contests even, and I don't know how. It would take me weeks, months, years to look. Mrs. Dolly Levi, 33-year-old chief clerks taught how to dance.
Now, it's very simple. You put one hand here and one hand here.
Oh, no, it's no use. I have no sense of rhythm.
Oh, absolutely no sense of rhythm is one of the primary requirements for learning by the Gallagher-Levi method. You just give me 5 minutes of your time, Mr. Hackle, and I'll have you dancing in the street. Let's begin with Lesson 7, the waltz kick turn. Ready? And right foot touch, left foot touch, under, back, around, unfurl. Oh, my. Oh, wonderful. When I think of the lucky women who'll find heaven in your arms. Now, let's go back to Lesson 1, shall we? Come. Put your hand on her waist and stand. With your right in her left hand. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Look, I'm dancing. Well, I was.
Yes, you were, Mr. Hackle. Come. Take the someone whose arms you're in. Hold on to her tight and spin. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wow! I'm dancing!
Yes, you are. Oh, my goodness. Turn around and turn around. Try floating through the air. Can't you be just a little more aesthetic?
Don't you think my dancing has a polish and a flair?
Well, the word I think I'd use is athletic.
For my heart is about to burst. my head is about to pop. And now that I'm dancing, who cares if I ever stop? Look at me, Cornelius Hackle, sport and dancing.
You're next, Mr. Tucker. Glide and step and then step and glide.
And everyone, stand
Oh
aside.
my goodness! Oh, delightful! Oh,
He's dancing.
he is. Oh, so beautiful. You can learn to polka if you worked a week or so, or the tango filled with passion seething.
I could join the chorus of the Castle Garden show.
Well, whatever you do, for gosh sakes, keep breathing.
For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop?
Have an adventure of our lives. When there's someone you hardly know and wish you were closer to, remember that he can be near to you while you're dancing. Though you've only just said hello, he's suddenly someone who can make all your daydreams appear to you while you're dancing. Make the music weave a spell, whirl away your worry. Things look almost twice as well when they're slightly blurry.
As around and around you go, your spirits will hit the top. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? How are you, Mrs. Rose?
Same pains in my back, aches in my side, stabs in my liver. I'm fine. My daughter Fanny got married, you know.
Did she?
Yeah, a year ago last September. It's been a long time since you moved here, Mrs. Levi. Such a long, long time.
Ephraim, let me go. It's been long enough, Ephraim. Every night for all these years, I've put out the cat, I've locked the door, and I've made myself a little rum toddy. And before I went to bed, I said a prayer thanking God that I was independent and that no one else's life was mixed up with mine. And then one night, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. I placed it there when you asked me to marry you, Ephraim. A perfectly good oak leaf, but without color and without life. And suddenly, I realized I was like that oak leaf for so many years. I had not shed one tear, nor had I been filled with the wonderful hope that something or other would turn out well. And so, I've decided to rejoin the human race. And Ephraim, I want you to give me away. Before the parade passes by, I want to get in step while there's still time left before the parade passes by, before it all moves on and only I'm left.
Mrs. Levi, Cornelius is taking us to the 14th Street Parade. Everybody will be marching.
Irene, you're crying.
Oh, Dolly, the world is full of such wonderful things. Come with us, Dolly.
I will, Irene. I will. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and taste Saturday's high life. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my life. I'm ready to move out in front. I've had enough of just passing by life with the rest of them, with the best of them. I can hold my head up high, for I've got a goal again. I've got to drive again. I want to feel my heart coming alive again before the parade passes by. Look at that crowd up ahead. Listen and hear that brass harmony growing. Look at that crowd up ahead. Pardon me if my old spirit is showing. All of those lights over there seem to be telling me where I'm going. When the whistles blow and the cymbals crash and the sparklers light the sky, I'm gonna raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton before the parade passes by.
When the parade passes by, listen and hear that brass harmony growing. When the parade passes by, pardon me if my old spirit is showing. All of those lights over there seem to be telling me where I'm going. When the whistles blow and the cymbals crash and the sparklers light the sky, I'm gonna raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton before the parade passes by. I'm gonna raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone, give me an old baton before the parade passes by.
Oh, Mrs. Levi, she is beautiful. Everything you said and more. Stay there, Miss Money, I'm coming for you, my dear. Hey, you, leave her alone. That's my fiancée. Unhand that woman. Will you stop? Whoa. I want all the parts. I paid good money for that girl. Mrs. Levi, what is the meaning of this?
Nothing to get upset about, Horace. Just a sudden last-minute substitution. Miss Money had a sudden urgent business appointment at the Mint. They ran a little short and she's helping out. But she will meet you at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant at 8 o'clock sharp tonight.
That's the most expensive restaurant in the city.
Oh, and well, it should be. The food and the fastest waiters in New York. Oh, and by the way, I may be a little late, but Miss Money will meet you in front of the restaurant at 8 o'clock sharp. Oh, and wait till you see her, Horace. All in emerald green and canary yellow and singing an old-fashioned tune. Sweet Rosie O'Grady. Oh, you couldn't miss her if you tried.
All right, Mrs. Levi, I'll meet Miss Money, but only because I paid for the introduction and I may as well get my money's worth. But from here on out, you are hereby discharged as my marriage broker. Is that clear? From this moment on, you're a regular woman just like anyone else. Wait, stop. What are you doing?
Ephraim,
Wait.
he's as good as mine. I'm gonna raise the roof. I'm gonna carry on. Give me an old trombone. Give me an old baton before the parade